I'm Dave Beckinhart. I'm pinch hitting for Quentin McCorvey, who's the chairman of the Workforce Investment Board. And the Workforce Investment Board is the regulatory body that oversees the Workforce Investment Act, which provides money for worker retraining, not only if people are laid off or that are underemployed. So we're using funds to help fund this center and to funnel people through a center which is essentially a career ladder. Just to give you a little bit of background of the Workforce Investment Board, the mission of the board, and this is a Cuyahoga County Cleveland Collaborative Board, is to address the region's human capital needs by assessing, training, and connecting workers and businesses. So obviously you can see that with this partnership, it's the perfect blend of private business and public funds, because we're able to access people that are looking for work, that are looking for career ladders, and put them into an organization in which they can grow. And it's a perfect public-private partnership. And this is consistent with what our vision is, and really what we're trying to do. And when we have a lot of challenges in Northeast Ohio with the deindustrialization and the changing economy, and these are huge aspects of hope when we can actually connect with business and create career ladders like this. I just want to thank obviously CVS. ULA actually has an office that's up front, so we work with very closely with CVS in putting people through here, and some of the staff of the ULA are here, and Marcia Tolles, raise your hand. So, there you go. You can be a little more proud than that. Do a lot of hard work out here, and it's really great. We also see this as an economic stimulus for the region. We have to find new opportunities. We have to reinvent the economy. And as Lieutenant Governor said, we're not only competing with Michigan, but we're competing with India and China. So it's incredibly important about what skills we give to the workforce, and so they can become efficient and lean and can create profit for companies. So with that, I just want to turn it over to Dennis Roberts, who's the director of the Division of Workforce for Cuyahoga County. And again, I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for being here. And just a little word about that. It's really fantastic to see so much state representation here. It is really important, because these are large issues, and with partnerships with the state, we're really able to do a lot of good work. And it's a breath of fresh air. The past 6 months have been very exciting. There's a lot of initiatives coming through that are going to bear a lot of fruit, and it's a good time to be doing this. So again, thanks to the state, and thank you, everyone.
And I am absolutely thrilled to be here. This is exciting, a long project that finally has come to fruition. Before I make my substantive remarks, let me take a quick moment to acknowledge some folks who may have not been acknowledged up to this point. As was alluded to by Steve Wing early on, this project largely was inspired by our previous director, Bob Pepinetti. It was executed and designed by Laurie Atkins and Mike Longo. The money for the project at some level is a result of some of the activity with regard to our Department of Employment and Family Services, Director Joe Gautner, and a lot of the logistical support was provided by Department of Central Services, Director Jay Ross and his team. I would also like to acknowledge Ms. Cynthia Goodrum, and finally Ms. Mary Kay Bitterman, who was helpful in terms of setting this particular event up for this particular day. These folks are all extremely important for one big reason. They're the reason that I'm able to stand before you and take credit for a lot of work that I didn't do. And that's important. But no, in all sincerity, I just want to acknowledge them. Oh, absolutely. And my colleague, Director Paul Yowski, who's the Director of Economic Development for the county, was also extremely instrumental and strategic as part of this project. Thank you, Mayor. But one of the things I want to mention, one of the primary reasons I'm extremely excited about what we have here is really three reasons. One, I think we have an unprecedented partnership between government and the private sector in that CVS is working with the workforce system. I think it's important to acknowledge it, to encourage it, support it, and replicate it. And I know CVS has an interest in replicating this in Columbus and Cincinnati, respectively. The reason I believe that's so important is because it's this type of partnership I believe is going to be necessary in order to move forward in a world of increased competition, increased globalization. We have to find a way to spend less money and get more for our dollar. And I think this is one example of how that can be done. And I think CVS is particularly forward-thinking in that agenda. Secondly, CVS's leadership and vision in regard to their business model ought to be commended. Not only are they coming to government to try to get some assistance, but they're partnering with government in a way that I believe is extremely meaningful. Not only is this a center where one can obtain training to go to CVS and get a job and eventually move up, but also, in some respects, this is an epicenter of workforce activity. There are a number of students that come from local school districts to get all types of training, to learn what it is to be in a work environment, a place where they can feel comfortable and ask the necessary questions in order to learn what it is to be at work and advance in a particular career. My final point with regard to why I'm excited about this project is its sheer potential. To date, there have been approximately 28 students who actually have been accepted into this program. 22 of those 28 have successfully completed the training, and 16 of those have actually been hired by CVS. That's about a 73% success rate relative to placement. Is that the panacea? Absolutely not. We seek 100%, and we'll go after that pretty aggressively. But I think it's a very good start, and it's something that we should continue. In closing, as I kind of thought about my comments, the closing section on the way here, I want to leave you with something hopefully that would be inspiring or at least thoughtful. One of the challenges I personally see with regard to workforce is that the workforce challenge is a people challenge. It's very difficult. It's very different than economic development, for example, because people are dynamic. They change, and you don't really impact what they bring to the table, level of motivation, those kind of soft factors. And many times, in my estimation, those are the factors that are going to dictate whether one is successful or not. And we're fighting against what I believe is a dangerous emerging culture of the devaluation of work. And I think it's something that we're going to have to face pretty explicitly and deal with, because globalization and price pressures is going to force it. And I think at some level, we have a commitment to basically bring the pride back to work. It's a good thing to do your job well just because. Obviously, one has to support one's family, but I think we got to go back to doing work, being good at something is a good reason because you're an American and you want to do a good job. And I think we ought to keep that in mind. And I think the best way that I could kind of communicate that thought is something that I was thinking about on the way here, really is, work allows one to build a house, but work demands that one builds character. And I think if we think about that as we go out and really hopefully act as workforce ambassadors and sort of communicate that with our families, our brothers and sisters, folks we know in the civic community or in leadership, I think we're in a better position to convince our young people that work is a good thing and it's something that you should engage in. By the way, you can buy a few things if you work hard also. So with that, I thank you, and I appreciate your time and understanding and dedication. Thank you.
Rob is going to make some remarks, but before we do that, I wanted just to really recognize Rob, too. He has done a tremendous job in helping to put this together. And Sue Vanderstaal's here, and I know that there's you report right into them, but he's worked very closely with our department, and I appreciate you making him available to us, because he's done a heck of a job. And when you think of the innovation that's happened here that Dennis was talking about, I mean, this morning when I came in, there was somebody from the public school system that was placing 3 or 4 students in internships. We have programs for people with disabilities. We have programs for veterans and veterans with disabilities. All different kinds of programs that, and we've seen the Cleveland Scholarship Program, and working together with them to develop relationships and partnerships that he has developed. So I'm really proud of him, the things that he has done. And I also want to just recognize one other group, too, that came all the way from Cincinnati, from the University of Cincinnati. And they're interested, Lieutenant Governor, in they've got some facility down there that they want us to work together on. So anyway, we just wanted to put that in there. But I'm going to give it over here to Rob. So. Thank you.